Okay, hey there guys, so in this video we're up against JA for the second time this season. This is technically the biggest war of the season for us. It's kind of arguable on how you want to do that, so it's JA. I ended up taking my first fight. No, that was my second section. So first off, I'll start off by saying this. I didn't die in section 2. I did not. But apparently I forgot to press record. But I got a friend and an alliance mate to give me a couple of his videos that he took for the fights. He gave me his mini bosses, I think it was. So that should be fun for the end, because it's only this Doom fight is all the stuff that I recorded myself, because yeah, in section 2 I was dumb. So section 1 here, again, I'm splitting my lane. I've been having to do this a lot. I've not been getting too many fights, but it's fine. We're on track for War Champion, so in the end, that's what matters. And I have to give the White Magneto here, and then I was giving the White Magneto on the long shot. It was just kind of how the paths worked out. This was the safest option, and against JA, you have to make sure every single fight is as safe as possibly can be. So, with Conflictor here, the two typical options, I think it is Omega Red, with like, Sabretooth and all of that, White Mags, or an Apocalypse and boosts. I think I've actually showed that fight from Alva on this channel before. I've always been a big fan of Doom versus Doom, because even though you can't use your heavy, you don't get shocked by him, and you can control his power, so you don't have to deal with his aura. And your SP3 doesn't really rely, because your SP3 and your SP2 don't rely on crits for the damage. SP3 doesn't crit, and SP2 has damage over time. So I've always found it a fairly good matchup. It's a little bit slower than some others, but it's very steady. So this fight will take a little bit longer than the Apocalypse and the Omega Red. Those can be like 30-second fights. But for Doom versus Doom, this is actually a fairly quick fight. Right there, I was a little bit annoyed that I didn't end up getting the third bar of power. So right here, I just have to go back in. I throw my second combo after the SP3. So he starts at 43%, and now this is going to be a double Fury SP3 from a rank 4 Doom. Also against a rank 4 Doom, but from 43 down to 24, so it took off 20% of his health. And I just need to get off my SP2. I was told in the assignments, don't use SP2 until it will finish him off, because Conflictor will eat the first Incinerate, giving him extra power, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So, that fight went very well, and then after this, I go and give some pre-fights on a couple fights, and then I forget to record section 2, as I said. It was just a dumb move by me, but hey, it happens. It's unfortunate that it was in a very intense war, and those two fights are actually pretty fun. So he's putting on some solid boosts here, and he has the tech boosts going, because he's going to be... can't use words. He's going to be using his Warlock here, and he puts on an Invul. Yeah, so this is actually the same node that I just took with Doom, which is Conflictor in Section 1. It's been a pretty dangerous node throughout the entire season. I've seen a lot of people get very close to death or die on this node, so it is a dangerous one. Right within a single combo, I-Bomb has a full bar of power because he starts with the poisons and he purifies them. With Warlock here, it's kind of how like that old Path 5 I-Bomb works. You just kind of need to get your infection up so you can start power controlling him. He's doing a decent job about maintaining some space and trying to bait him out. And right here, he gets infected, so he's starting to get power drained. So it's now a lot safer than it previously was, but the issue is he has to have the debuff on him. He really needs to get off this SP2, which he's about to be able to do, and once he gets the armor breaks going, the fight pretty much becomes locked in, but the Conflictor eats the armor breaks, which would have power drained, but he gets them off later on, which then, as I said, secures the fight. SP2 does a ton of damage, and then the willpower from the armor breaks consistently power drain him, so even if that fight had went longer, after that first SP2, the fight becomes very, very safe. And here is a very, very, not like classic matchup, but this has been a matchup for a while now, is Mangog on 54 up here with the extra power gain and Aspect of Evolution. And with Unstoppable Armor and Mystic, he's been Global Defender 2 times in a row, so it really does make this a pretty annoying fight for both of those. People died both times. With Magic, it's of course pretty safe. You usually want to be backdraft intercepting with Magic, of course, but in high tier wars it can be very, very stressful. Plus with her Limbo, right, like right here, all that block damage will just get healed off because of Limbo, and he only put on half suicides, so it doesn't matter that any of the damage he takes because he heals it all off. But with Limbo, with the poison, you don't heal back everything. And yeah, at this point in the fight, it's pretty safe because he has his limbos going the most of the time. He has the power lock, so he doesn't have to worry about Mangog getting aspect of evolution. And it should be pretty secure now. He, when he sent me this, he was telling me he didn't want to go for the stand-up intercepts because, well, it's a high tier war, it's a high stress war, and I don't think he uses magic the most in wars, but he does very well in this fight. This fight's actually going at a very quick pace, aiming for around a 2-minute finish against a Mangog with a magic. Very, very solid time. Magic fights are kind of like Quake, but the reverse, where they're kind of boring because you're just like backdrafting against the corner, throwing SP2. And Quake, you're just against your corner, just holding heavy. And assuming the player knows what they're doing, the fight shouldn't really have many variables. Because like he's even going for the parries here because block damage doesn't matter, but if you get intercepted yourself, it does matter. So he decided to play it very, very safe here, which I think is always a fair enough move, especially if you don't have to use her again, right? Like, why save a potion if there's no fight after it? So it's very, very doable with just parrying here, and at just around 2 minutes in it should be. Yeah, I think that's what it said. He finishes it off. And that wraps up the fights for this video, just because, yeah, as I said, I forgot those 2 fights of mine. So, we actually lost this war. This is our first loss in a fair bit of time, if I'm being honest. But 2-4, like, having 4 deaths I don't feel like is a bad thing for our alliance. JA just played absolutely phenomenally. 2 deaths, 8,400 seconds, like, insanity. Steeler, MVP for them. Steeler is a longtime friend of mine, so always nice to see him up there. Got a BG1 player on our side over there. That's always fun to see. This was just an incredible war. I think it lived up to the hype. There was a lot of hype in different chats because this war could determine a lot of different stuff. It's looking good for us for the season still, so that's what matters in the end. Loss is unfortunate, but they happen. It's been a while since we've lost a war, so they happen. It's all that matters. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry for the lack of fights in it, but I'll be seeing you guys soon. Bye.